Hello everyone, welcome back to Lab4crypto. On my last video, I spoke about my outlook for altcoins in Q3 and Q4, and I emphasized a little bit on the importance of the summer months. And on this video, I will speak about Bitcoin and why I believe 2025 is poised to be an epic year for Bitcoin, that maybe we will not have any other chance as investors in the future to take advantage of all of these points that I'm going to outline in this video. I hope you like the video, and if you do, please like the video and leave us a comment, as that helps us grow our channel faster. Let's move to the important stuff and see the charts that I have prepared and my reasoning. The first reason that drove me to the conclusion that I stated before is the fact that we are hovering between 60 to 70k for the last couple of months, with basically no interest in the market. And what I mean by that, if you go to Google Trends and type the word Bitcoin, you will find out that actually the interest over time for Bitcoin currently is in levels that we previously saw in a bear market. And it's quite impressive to see Bitcoin hovering around its fair value, which is based on our model at 56, 57k. And even if we check another model which also tracks the fair value of Bitcoin, which is the price power law model, which again, Bitcoin price is hovering close to the fair value of Bitcoin. The model states that is 67 and the price of Bitcoin is 62.4. And both models basically show that Bitcoin price is really close to the fair value with almost no interest in the market. So imagine when we have all these new people coming into the market, what the Bitcoin price will be when we have a new interest in the market. Also, if you go to the FOMO level of Bitcoin, which is the fear of missing out point threshold, let's say, where new people are entering the market and start to feel that they missed Bitcoin run. The price of Bitcoin currently, as we saw before, the closing price is 62.4k, and the 3% threshold is at 57.1k. So again, the Bitcoin price is above the threshold, which is good news. And also, if we check the fair value of Bitcoin, again, the Bitcoin price is close to the fair value. And also, if we check the total market cap fair value, which is the red line, again, the total market cap, which Bitcoin has more than half of the total crypto market cap. That's why you see the total market cap, which is the blue line, close to the fair value of the total market cap, which is the FIT, which is the red line, to again be close to the fair value. And that for me is really good news, to have a zero interest in the market and having Bitcoin and the total market cap hovering around their fair value. Moving on, I want to go to the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Bitcoin spot ETFs are a mechanism for institutions to allocate some of their capital to Bitcoin that now is regulated. When you have a large amounts of capital, you don't want to risk it, and therefore you go through channels which are regulated. That is why it was so important in the US to have the SEC approve the Bitcoin spot ETF. If you go to BlackRock, for example, you will see that since basically the approval of the spot ETFs, they are in a continually inflow state. So actually only they had 1 day of outflows since January 12th of January 2024. BlackRock was in an inflow state all of these months, and they only had an outflow on the 1st of May 2024. And if we check the chart, which basically is all spot ETFs, so all of them, the Grayscale, the BlackRock, the Fidelity, the ARK, and all the others, you will see that the outflow numbers, so the bars, are smaller compared to the inflow days. And also, if you count the number of negative days are much less than the positive days. And imagine that now people from BlackRock, Fidelity, and ARK are going outside to investors and try to educate them around Bitcoin. And this is a process that takes months. You cannot go to someone that is not familiar with digital assets to tell him to allocate a percentage of his portfolio to Bitcoin without understanding it. And therefore, having this huge success in Bitcoin spot ETFs already, it's something that I think when more people are educated around Bitcoin spot ETFs as we move through 2025, it will bring huge amount of capital to Bitcoin. Also, I would like to touch on Grayscale, which Grayscale before was a trust, and that's why you see only outflows on their Bitcoin spot ETFs, because they were many, many years in the industry and many people wanted to also move some of their position in GBTC to BlackRock and Fidelity because they have really, really small fees compared to GBTC. On the 6th of May 2024, we had the first positive day for Grayscale. And if this selling pressure for GBTC now it's over, it will be really helpful for Bitcoin price to have a continue buying pressure from all these spot ETFs and from all this capital in the US. Moving forward, I will go to the next point, which is the US debt. US debt is out of control, in my opinion. And I'm always sensitive about debt because here in Cyprus, we had an issue and actually the country was going to be bankrupt. And do not forget that Cyprus is a European country. And actually, what happened to be able to actually pay our debt, one day the government decided to take the money of everyone that had deposits in the bank which were above 100K and pay the debt. So imagine to have 1 million euros in your bank account on Sunday night and on Monday morning wake up and having only 100K in your account because the government was able to take the 900K in euro that you had without any notice and without any intentions to give it back. And I know a lot of people think that every economy is strong and that that will never happen to them, but it's better to have mechanisms to protect your capital. So the US economy, without a doubt, is strong, but the public debt is out of control. And the only way that I find possible for the US to pay the creditors is to print more money. And when that happens, you have basically two outcomes. One, because the Fed or the government thinks that because the economy is strong, printing more money will not be any issue. What you do in the end, you debase your currency. And by debasing your currency, basically you are debasing also the debt because the $1 that you borrowed in 1980 is worth much more than the dollar that you had now in 2024. But you're printing this $1 and you can pay the previous debt that you had. I hope that I explained that well. When that happens though, when you have people that they have wealth, they want to protect their capital because also the money that they have in the bank or in their investments is losing also its power if it's not protected. And because with the addition of the spot ETFs, I think institutions, they are going to start to think ways to protect their capital. Of course, they can do it with other mechanisms as well. Maybe they will decide to allocate in gold or in other commodities or whatever. But I personally believe they are going to bring some of their capital to Bitcoin. No one knows the exact percentage, of course, but it's important to anticipate that it's going to be a movement of money as we go in 2025 and as the debt is going out of control. And our job basically is to investigate and see if actually some of that amount is going to find its place in Bitcoin. And in my opinion, that is a really high likelihood that that will happen. Therefore, be able to allocate in Bitcoin before that happens is going to be an amazing decision for someone, as the appreciation of Bitcoin is going to be in an exponential curve as well. Now I'm going to move on the elections part that is coming in November 2024 in the US. Now let's do a simple thought experiment. Imagine that a president is elected in November 2024, whoever it is, and he has to prove that the economy is strong and also bring new businesses to the US, bring new capital and growth in general. The way to do it, the logical action first, is to reduce the interest rates, as the interest payments for the existing people that they have loans to the banks, they have almost doubled in the last couple of years. So imagine that previously you are paying 1,000 euros or dollars per month to your bank for a loan that you had. After this increase of the interest rates, your loan was double. So instead of $1,000 per month, now you pay $2,000 per month. When you have the interest rates and the rate cuts, basically what is happening, this capital that we are paying to the bank is now released. And therefore, as your payments, your installments to the bank are reduced, this capital is freed. And either you can invest it somewhere or you can do anyway whatever you want. But in general, when you have a growing economy and bull run in 2025 in stocks or in crypto or whatever, the most likely scenario is to allocate some of that capital to Bitcoin, let's say that we are most focused. What that happens, it gives a price appreciation to the asset. Next, imagine that this reduce in the interest rate, what it does as well is making the borrowing of money cheaper. So imagine that you want to start a company or you have a business that is barely able to pay its debts and pay its employees or whatever, you will be able to borrow with lower interest. So imagine if it goes to 0.5, you will be able to borrow easier from the banks. And this is a way to stimulate the economy. And in my opinion, when you have a new president, because they are strive to show that the economy is growing, they usually do these two things. And moving forward, imagine that if you believe the likelihood that the scenario 1 and 2 that I said, the reduce of the interest rate and the money printing is going to happen, your job as investor is to find the places to add your capital before that happens. Because first, the new inflow of money is going to happen in 2025, and therefore you need to position yourself to the areas that you feel more familiar with. As I said before, it doesn't have to be crypto or Bitcoin, but it's something that you understand. And of course, as I understand more the crypto industry, I'm going to focus on Bitcoin. And I know that everyone wants to know about altcoins, but what happens usually is Bitcoin is moving first to a new all-time high, and altcoins are growing with a lag. So they need 2 or 3 or 4 months more to go to their all-time high. And their all-time high usually is an exponential curve. And as a result, you need tools to help you do a risk management, because altcoins are going to ridiculous valuations that actually they cannot sustain. And that's why they are crashing hard. If you go to a chart, which shows the drawdown from all-time high. Let's go to Kronos, for example. You will see from the previous all-time high, Kronos lost 92, 93% of its value. Therefore, you need to know and you need to be prepared when you exit the market, when everything is looking really good, because nothing is going up forever. You need to have the tools and the knowledge to protect yourself. I hope I explained why I believe Bitcoin and also altcoins are going to have a really good year in 2025. And until next time, bye bye.